All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune today to review COVID-19 vaccine development and manufacturing process. In Jammu and Kashmir, polling begins for first phase of maiden District Development Council elections along with Panchayat by-polls. Chief Economic Advisor says GDP estimates of second quarter more encouraging than anticipated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. Central teams are being rushed to the state to assist in rescue and relief work in wake of cyclone Nivar. India and the United Kingdom look forward to enhance cooperation and partnership in post-COVID and post-Brexit era. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 3-city visit today to personally review the COVID-19 vaccine development and manufacturing process. The Prime Minister's office in a tweet said that Mr. Modi will visit the Zydus Biotech Park in Ahmedabad, Bharat Biotech in Hyderabad and Serum Institute of India in Pune. It said, as India enters a decisive phase of the fight against COVID-19, the Prime Minister's visit to these facilities and discussions with the scientists will help him get a first-hand perspective of the preparations, challenges and roadmap in India's endeavour to vaccinate its citizens. Mr. Modi will first visit the Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals Vaccine Development Facility at Zydus Biotech Park near Ahmedabad this morning. The Zydus plant, which is working on Zycov-D, a COVID-19 vaccine candidate, is located in Changodar area of Ahmedabad in Gujarat. A helipad facility has been set up close to the plant for Prime Minister's visit. Our Ahmedabad correspondent Yogesh Pandya has filed this report.
After reaching Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reach Zydus Biotech Park through helicopter. Zydus Cadila Pharmaceuticals Vaccine Development Facility at Zydus Biotech Park is working on Zycov-D, a COVID-19 vaccine candidate is located in Changodar area of Ahmedabad. According to the sources, Zydus Cadila is expected to submit the result of the phase 2 trials next week, which will ascertain the safety, dose and efficacy of the potential vaccine. It will also apply for phase 3 clinical trials of its experimental COVID-19 vaccine in December. If all goes well, the company expects to introduce the vaccine by March next year. Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
From Ahmedabad, the Prime Minister is scheduled to reach Hakimpet Air Force Station in Hyderabad by a special aircraft. Mr. Modi is expected to visit the vaccine manufacturing facility of Bharat Biotech International Limited, BBIL, located at the Genome Valley on the outskirts of Hyderabad and review the COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing process. The BBIL is engaged in the manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccine called Covaxin in collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research. Our correspondent Lakshmi reports that the Prime Minister will be interacting with scientists and others concerned at the BBIL facility during his brief visit.
The SARS-CoV-2 strain for the indigenous COVID-19 vaccine candidate was isolated in the Pune-based ICMR National Institute of Virology and transferred to BBIL of Hyderabad. Currently, the phase 3 clinical trials of the vaccine candidate are underway by involving over 25,000 volunteers in 22 states across the country. According to BBIL, the vaccine is being manufactured at the Biosafety Level 3 Biocontainment Facility in its premises at the Genome Valley, located on the outskirts of Hyderabad. The Prime Minister will be briefed about various stages of the vaccine manufacturing and other processes during his brief visit to Hyderabad. The vaccine has already been tested on around 1,000 volunteers during first and second phases of trials. Lakshmi, AR News, Hyderabad.
From there, the Prime Minister is expected to fly to Pune to visit the Serum Institute, where he will review the production of corona vaccine Covishield. As per the schedule, after arrival at Lohgaon Airport, the Prime Minister will be flown directly to Serum Institute by a special helicopter. At the institute, Mr. Modi will discuss with the concerned officials about the overall supply and distribution system after the successful testing of this vaccine. The Prime Minister will be at the institute for about an hour and then leave for Delhi in the evening.
With 43,082 new COVID-19 infections, the country's total cases have risen to 93,09,788. The Health Ministry said, with 492 new deaths, the death toll has reached 1,35,715. The total number of active cases now stand at 4,55,555. The total number of discharged cases reached 87,18,517, with 39,379 new discharges in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate has reached 93.65%. Over 11,31,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached 13,70 lakh. The number of COVID tests per million population in India has crossed the 1 lakh mark. The Health Ministry has said that very high levels of testing lead to early identification, prompt isolation and effective treatment of COVID-19 cases. The central government and ICMR have scaled up the testing infrastructure in a calibrated manner.
In Delhi, a total of 5,482 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 5,56,000. The Delhi government said that over 5,09,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 5,937 people recovered and 98 deaths were reported in the city, taking the toll to 8,909. Medical colleges in Himachal Pradesh will reopen from the 1st of December, over 8 months after remaining shut due to the coronavirus pandemic. The teaching in medical colleges of the state was suspended in March to check the spread of the infection.
The Uttar Pradesh government is taking all steps to contain the spread of COVID-19 infection in the state. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has instructed the concerned officials to increase the number of tests for COVID-19. A record 1,83,557 samples were tested for coronavirus yesterday. More from our Lucknow correspondent MS Yadav.
During the last 24 hours, 2,366 new cases of corona infection were detected in the state, and at present the number of active cases of corona in the state is 25,639. E-Sanjeevani portal have proved very much helpful for COVID-19 patients, and during the last 24 hours, 2,579 people took medical consultation through the portal. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has appealed to people to follow COVID-19 protocols. Elderly persons, pregnant women and people with comorbidity have been advised to avoid marriage and public functions to escape infection. MS Yadav, AIR News, Lucknow.
The Madhya Pradesh government has given instructions to impose restrictions on marriage ceremonies in districts where corona infection is high. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan reviewed the arrangements for containing the spread of the coronavirus pandemic in the state through video conferencing yesterday. The Chief Minister announced a financial assistance of 50 lakh rupees to the family of corona warrior Dr. Shubham Upadhyay, who lost his life while saving the lives of COVID-19 patients. A report from our Bhopal correspondent Sanjeev Sharma.
Madhya Pradesh government has also directed that unnecessary restrictions should not be imposed on marriage ceremonies in the districts where there are less number of infections. On the other hand, people who do not wear mask in the Madhya Pradesh will now be kept in open jail for some time, while those who do not follow the corona guidelines will also get the same punishment. Although the positivity rate still remains 5.5% and the death rate is 1.6%. The number of COVID-19 cases in the state climbed up to more than 2 lakh after 1,645 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. However, more than 1,83,000 people have recovered so far. The number of active cases in the state is 14,677. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Orissa, the total number of COVID-19 recoveries has reached 3,09,747. While 908 patients recovered yesterday, 594 fresh cases increased the tally to 3,17,239 during the last 24 hours. More from our Bhubaneswar correspondent Girish Chandra Das.
The sustained viral degrowth in Odisha has substantially dented the COVID-19 active caseload of the state. While the state was burdened with an all-time high of 34,000 plus active patients barely 2 months ago, the same has slid down to 5,721 as of now. On the other hand, while reviewing COVID-19 situation in the state yesterday, Chief Minister Nabin Patnaik expressed satisfaction over the Niti Aayog highlighting Odisha's overall COVID management in its recent report. In writing reference to the report, the Chief Minister said Odisha was one of the few states to have set up COVID-19 hospitals in each district quite early on, besides other proactive measures in its battle against the virus. Girish Chandra Das, EIN News, Bhubaneswar.
In Maharashtra, the lockdown restrictions have been extended till the 31st of December amid surge in coronavirus cases in the state. The Maharashtra government issued an order in this regard. The state government has taken the decision to extend the existing restriction rules after examining the COVID-19 situation in the state. In Tamil Nadu, the COVID-19 active caseload has dropped to 11,109. The number of new patients in the last 24 hours has come down to 1,442, including 392 in Chennai. 1,494 people recovered from the illness during the last 24 hours, while 12 others succumbed to it. Meanwhile, the state has been given first prize on organ donation by the Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan. More from our correspondent, Jay Singh.
This is the sixth time in a row that Tamil Nadu has bagged the first position in the country in organ donation. The certificate for the same has been given by the Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, in a virtual function to the State Health Minister, Dr. C. Vijayabhaskar. After receiving it, Mr. Vijayabhaskar said the government is considering offering government job to one of the eligible members of the families of those who donate organs, with the aim of promoting the cause. He said the air ambulance service will be launched in the state very soon. Jai Singh, AER News, Chennai.
Talking to All India Radio, senior medical expert Dr. Narendra Saini said, it is compulsory for everyone to follow all the precautions to stay safe from coronavirus infection. Dr. Saini said, even after the vaccination is out, people should follow government guidelines.
हमें ध्यान रखना होगा कि हम लोग संक्रमित ना हो इस बीमारी से, जिसके लिए बार बार कहते हैं कि वैक्सीनेशन जब तक नहीं आता तब तक हमें सोशल डिस्टेंस मेंटेन रखना है, मास्क रखना है, अपने हाथों को बार बार साफ करना है और भीड़ भाड़ की जगहों से दूर रहना है. इसको तो साथ में हमें रखना ही होगा, इवन वैक्सीनेशन आने के बावजूद भी. हमें समझना भी होगा कि एक बारी में इतने सारे वैक्सीनेशन नहीं बन सकते, इसलिए यदि वैक्सीनेशन आ भी जाए तो उसके लिए जो गवर्नमेंट प्रायोरिटी दे उसको हम ध्यान से सुने और उसी के अनुसार हम अपने वैक्सीनेशन का इंतजार करें.
In Jammu and Kashmir, polling has begun for the first phase of maiden District Development Council DDC elections, along with Panchayat by-polls. The voting began at 7 this morning and will continue till 2 in the afternoon. The elections are being held in 8 phases. Elaborate arrangements have been put in place to ensure smooth conduct of polling. A report from our Srinagar correspondent Sunil Kaul.
The election is in the first phase for 43 DDC constituencies being conducted in Jammu and Kashmir today, commenced at 7 in the morning. There are total 296 candidates in the electoral fray for today's 43 constituencies of DDC elections. Besides, the Sarpanch elections are conducted in 94 constituencies today and 279 candidates are contesting in this phase. 768 punches, including 36 sarpanches, have already been elected unopposed. Meanwhile, State Election Commissioner Mr. K.K. Sharma appealed to the people of Jammu and Kashmir to come forward to participate in the biggest festival of democracy and exercise their right to cast their valuable vote. Sunil Kaul, AR News, Srinagar.
The BJP has nominated party leader and former Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Sushil Kumar Modi, as its candidate for the upcoming by-election to the Rajya Sabha in the state. The decision was taken by the BJP Central Election Committee.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune today to review COVID-19 vaccine development and manufacturing process. In Jammu and Kashmir, polling begins for the first phase of maiden District Development Council elections along with Panchayat by-polls. Chief Economic Advisor says GDP estimates of second quarter more encouraging than anticipated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. Central teams are being rushed to the state to assist in rescue and relief work in the wake of Cyclone Nivar. And India and the United Kingdom look forward to enhanced cooperation and partnership in post-COVID, post-Brexit era. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Chief Economic Advisor K.V. Subramanian has said that India's gross domestic product GDP estimates of second quarter of 2020-21 are quite encouraging in comparison to the first quarter. Talking to media persons in New Delhi yesterday, Mr. Subramanian said manufacturing has recorded a positive growth of 0.6% and utility has grown by 4.4% and agriculture grew by 3.4% in second quarter. Mr. Subramanian said that the broad recovery is underway.
Agriculture has been a persistent bright spot even in Q1 when other sectors did not do well at all. The agriculture had done very well and that continues to be the case, and it's broad-based across food grains, cereals and oil seeds as well. And the Kharif harvest estimates also show the same thing. Rural demand has been doing well as reflected in the tractor sales and similar on fertilizer sales as well.
India's GDP contracted by 7.5% in the second quarter from July to September 2020-21. According to the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, gross value added GVA came in at -7%. Some sectors have bounced back with resumption of economic activities. The electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services have shown a growth of 4.4%. The Tamil Nadu government has announced compensation packages for the losses suffered due to the cyclone Nivar. Chief Minister Edapadi Palanisamy in a statement last night said that 4 people lost their lives due to the cyclone. He said their families will be given a solation of 10 lakh rupees each. 30,000 rupees each will be given as compensation for the cows that were killed, 25,000 rupees for buffaloes, 16,000 rupees for the calves and 3,000 rupees for the sheep. In addition, financial aid will be given for the huts in proportion to the damages. For the crop loss, the Chief Minister has assured that the compensation will be given after assessment of the damages.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Edapadi Palanisamy and discussed the situation in the wake of Cyclone Nivar and heavy rainfall in the parts of the state. In a series of tweets last evening, the Prime Minister's office said central teams are being sent to Tamil Nadu to assist in the rescue and relief work. The Prime Minister expressed condolence on the loss of lives and prayed for a quick recovery of the injured. An ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each would be given to the next of kin of the persons deceased and 50,000 rupees each to the injured from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. In a statement last night, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister said that the Prime Minister has assured of all possible help to the state. The government has said that over 310 lakh tons of paddy has been procured during the Kharif marketing season, an increase of 18.78% over last year. The Agriculture Ministry said paddy procurement is continuing smoothly in the procuring states and union territories of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Kerala, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Maharashtra. Out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed over 202 lakh tons, which is 65.24% of the total procurement. The ministry said more than 28,45,000 farmers have already benefited from the procurement operations with minimum support price value of 58,644 crore rupees.
India and the United Kingdom have reiterated their shared desire to impart a quantum jump to the partnership in the post-COVID, post-Brexit era. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's telephonic conversation with his British counterpart Boris Johnson yesterday, the two leaders exchanged thoughts about the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The two leaders reviewed the promising cooperation between India and the UK in the area of vaccine development and manufacturing. The leaders agreed that there was tremendous potential for enhancing collaboration in trade and investment, scientific research, mobility of professionals and students, and defence and security. The leaders also agreed that officials from both sides would continue their work to quickly finalize an ambitious long-term roadmap for the India-UK partnership. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held bilateral talks with Vietnamese counterpart General No Chan Lak through video conferencing yesterday. During the talks, both the ministers reaffirmed the strong India-Vietnam defence cooperation, which is a key pillar of comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries. In a statement, the Defence Ministry said both sides signed an implementing arrangement for cooperation in the field of hydrography. It will enable sharing of hydrographic data and assist in production of navigational charts by both sides.
National Security Advisor Ajit Dobhal called on Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in Colombo yesterday. Mr. Dobhal conveyed greetings from Prime Minister Narendra Modi and observed the progress in bilateral cooperation between the two nations. National Security Advisor is visiting Colombo to participate in the 4th NSA-level trilateral meeting of India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives on maritime and security cooperation. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla has said the COVID pandemic has brought the need for a more secure and reliable supply chain to the fore. He said there is global recognition that there is a need to diversify supply chains and design them to be more resilient to disruptions like the current pandemic. He was speaking at the Indo-German 1.5 Track Dialogue 2020 yesterday. The Foreign Secretary said this is an opportunity to make India an active manufacturing hub placed at the heart of global value chains. This is the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India campaign. The government has issued the Motor Vehicle Aggregator Guidelines 2020 with a view to regulate shared mobility and reduce traffic congestion and pollution. The guidelines were issued as per the requirements and provisions of the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act 2019. In a statement, the Union Ministry of Road Transport and Highways said these guidelines seek to establish a regulatory framework for aggregators by the state governments to ensure that the aggregators are accountable and responsible for the operations executed by them. In Chhattisgarh, a dog squad of security forces is playing an important role in the anti-Maoist operations in tribal areas of the state. The Chhattisgarh Armed Forces have raised the special dog squad of indigenous breed by crossbreeding from foreign breed dogs. A report from our Raipur correspondent Vikalp Shukla.
The first dog squad of 24 dogs has recently been raised by crossbreeding with Belgian Shepherd breed dogs at the Bhilai Center of Chhattisgarh Armed Forces. These dogs have been given 8 months rigorous training. They can not only smell explosives from a distance of 20 feet, but also run non-stop for 12 kilometers. Besides, they have also been trained to swim. After completion of training, this dog squad is being deployed in Maoist-affected areas as well as in the plains. Officials of security forces are confident that these specially trained dogs will be very helpful in the operation against the Maoist in difficult areas. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
Legendary Bangladeshi actor and liberation war fighter Ali Zakir passed away in Dhaka yesterday. He was 76. He'd been fighting cancer for the last several years. He tested positive for COVID-19 2 days back at a Dhaka hospital where he was undergoing treatment. Ali Zakir was a towering figure of Bangladesh in theatre, television and films. Ali was involved in the Liberation War movement of Bangladesh against Pakistan. Bangladeshi President Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina paid tributes to the renowned actor. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It will be the 71st episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app.
In cricket, the second one-day international between India and Australia will take place at the Sydney Cricket Ground tomorrow. In the opening game of the three-match series last evening, Australia defeated India by 66 runs. After setting a target of 375 runs, Australia restricted India to 308 for 8 in 50 overs. Earlier, the hosts won the toss and elected to bat first. The third and the final ODI will be played on the 2nd of December in Sydney. In Port Blair, squally winds and rains were observed this morning. The Met Department and the Directorate of Disaster Management have issued an advisory regarding the formation of a low-pressure area in the central part of South Bay of Bengal in the next 24 hours. It is likely to move in a westward direction. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea from today onwards. The Indian Coast Guard vessels on deployment are sensitizing fishermen at sea and guiding them to return to the harbour. ICG also directed all its centres and ships in Andaman Nicobar Islands to be alert to meet any contingency. Weather warning predicted heavy rain with thundersquall at 1 or 2 places in the Andaman Nicobar region for the next 2 days.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital is likely to experience a misty morning with temperatures varying between 10 and 27 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will observe mainly clear sky and the temperature will vary between 21 and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata is likely to have partly cloudy sky. On to the north, Jammu witnessed a minimum temperature of 9 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 22 degrees. Srinagar will also have mainly clear sky in the morning, which may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature will hover between -2 degrees Celsius and 12 degrees. In Leh, there will be mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was -10 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 2 degrees. Gilgit will have mainly clear sky with temperature between 4 degrees Celsius and 12 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky in the morning, which may become partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will range between 5 and 17 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 9 and 25 degrees Celsius. The sky will be mainly clear. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky. The temperature in the city will hover between 9 and 24 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Farmers' agitation makes top news in most dailies with almost identical headlines. The Times of India reveals that the farmers have been offered protest site at Burari. The Pioneer reports that Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has invited farmers for a dialogue on 3rd of December. Economy contracts 7.5% in Q2, reports the Times of India. At -7.5%, economy looks better than expected, writes Financial Express. GDP shrinks 7.5% in Q2. Manufacturing picks up. Services sector worst hit, sums up the Indian Express. 2 army jawans killed in Pakistan shelling at LOC, reports the Tribune. J&K polls begin today. Women stand for hope in Anantnag, reports the Indian Express. And finally, the Times of India writes that the Union Road Transport Ministry seeks to cap Ola-Uber surge price at 1.5 times the base fare.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and Pune today to review COVID-19 vaccine development and manufacturing process. In Jammu and Kashmir, polling begins for first phase of Maiden District Development Council elections along with Panchayat by-polls. Chief Economic Advisor says GDP estimates of second quarter more encouraging than anticipated. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks to Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. Central teams are being rushed to the state to assist in rescue and relief work in the wake of Cyclone Nivar. India and the United Kingdom look forward to enhanced cooperation and partnership in post-COVID and post-Brexit era. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.